Hey, we got some music. What? Yeah. Maybe. Little Curtis Mayfield to get us in the groove today. Yeah. Just getting some folks on here, building a little traffic. This music is so good. We're going to be talking about some stuff today. Today, we are going to be talking about self-evolution. So, Curtis Mayfield, rise on up and take the trip. He's telling us the truth. Hey. Come on, dance a little bit with me. Hey, Roxanne. Just move on up. Move your body a little bit. Feel that energy moving through. And then we're gonna get into a talk, but let's move. Hey. Just hush now, child. What? Don't cry. What kind of funky dance moves you got? Huh? Show me. All right. We're gonna do this now. Let's see here. Yes. All right. We're gonna get into it now. All right. So we got a little dance, we got a little groove. Thank you all for joining. I had to get my phone set up because sometimes I don't see all of the comments. But hey, Vicky. Hey, Roxanne. Hey, Krista. Thank you all. Colby. Hey, Rachel. Allison. If I missed anybody, sometimes I don't see all the names that are up. But thank you for joining. Here we are today for Walking the Path. Today's topic is self-evolution. So Curtis Mayfield was great to bring us in. Rise on up. Move on up. Move on up. And, today's topic, self-evolution, is the truth of all of life. All of life is expanding. All of life. Amanda, hey. Wendy, hey. All of life is unfolding. All of life is expanding. The nature of everything is expansive. It's a spiritual principle, and what we can find in spiritual principle is we can find the truth of it in the expression. We can find the truth of it in nature. Nature is our teacher. Our nature is, human nature is nature. So if we want to look and say, well, how do you know that the universe is expansive? How do you know that the nature of life is progressive and evolutionary? We just look at plants, at a seed. We're going to be talking about the seed analogy a lot today. But inside the seed, everything is contained, and it moves from smaller existence to greater being. So the nature of life is evolutionary. It's progressive and it's expansive, and therefore we are evolutionary. And we can choose not to be. We can choose to capitulate into a smaller way of being. We can choose to stay stuck in our lower vibrational frequencies. Nothing wrong with that. It's our choice. That's why the nature of the universe is loving, because we can do whatever we want to with this gift of life. So we could choose to just hang out in material comfort. That's a possibility. And that's a take. You can take this life and do that with it. But what we're interested in, what you're interested in, is evolution. You're interested in expansion. You're interested in growth. Otherwise, you wouldn't be tuning into this talk. You wouldn't be interested in rhythmia. You are interested in something expansive about expanding yourself and about self-evolution. So self-evolution focuses on two principles that I want to talk about and requires both love and discipline. Love and discipline. So the talk today is self-evolution, and the subtitle is love and discipline. And it's brought to you by, remember Sesame Street? Today is brought to you by the letters W, T, and F. And by the number 12, right? Whatever it was, I can't remember. But I remember Sesame Street. That was cool. So today's talk, Love and Discipline, Self-Evolution, subtitle Love and Discipline, is brought to you by the two principles. Everything is unfolding in divine perfection, and we are undivided from the source. I got to tell you this funny story. I write frequently on my I have like either I have mirrors and I get this special marker that I can write on the mirrors, or I have a piece of paper that I put up in my room and a quote comes up or something that I like or a passage or an idea and I write it, and I generally have this big board of statements, and sometimes I just look at the board and it's like you're filling your mind with all these beautiful affirmations and intentions and affirmative statements, and they're all there and you keep going back to them. So when I do this and I get a new piece of paper, I always write in the center of it, everything is unfolding in divine perfection. And one time I wrote, everything is unfolding in divine perfection, but I forgot the F. And I mean, I spent time on it. I wrote, everything is unfolding in divine perfection, and then I outlined it and I colored it. It was all really beautiful. And it wasn't until, I don't know, a couple weeks later that I looked at it and it said, everything is unfolding in divine correction. No F, divine correction. I got a correction right now. No, I'm saying is that was an amazing lesson for me as a Virgo. I want everything to be right. I want everything to be perfect. I want to be perfect. I want to have everything in order. And to have something out of order that was meant to be in order on my wall really helped me. Because even though I misspelled it, it was absolutely perfect because I could now relate to this. I related it to some folks at Rhythmia when I was teaching the opening class on Mondays, that everything is unfolding in divine perfection. Everything, the principle is everything is unfolding in divine perfection, no matter what the appearance is, no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the outer effects or conditions tell us. So we can look at anything in our lives. We know we've all had moments of our lives when it looked like it was bad and it ended up being good. We've all had that. We've all had that moment. So I can look at so many situations. We can find the blessing in the pearl. Look at your own life. How many times did you go through something? And if you would have known what you had to go through to get to the other side, you would have never wanted to do it. You would have turned the other way. But you didn't know, and you went through it, and it was painful, and there was suffering. But on the other side of it, pearls of wisdom, insight, revelation, refinement. It was a refining of yourself and your soul. So we know that everything really is unfolding in divine perfection. There's a common statement that says, there's a silver lining to every cloud. That's an indication of that principle. That even though it appears to be cloudy, there's something good emerging. There's something good that is seeking to emerge. And we're going to talk about the law of emergence. So if the talk today is on self-evolution, and it is funded by love and discipline and brought to you by the principles of everything is unfolding in divine perfection, and we are indivisible. So I want to talk about this love. Love. We have to love ourselves. Love is an action. Love is a verb, right? And so when we're talking about love, love is first for oneself. We must love, we must have a sense of love. We must love ourselves enough to take care of our needs, our mental, spiritual, and emotional and physical needs before we can love another. Otherwise, it's codependent. If I'm taking care of somebody else's needs before mine, then I am in a codependent situation because I've placed someone else more important than me. I've placed someone else or something else on a pedestal. Now, it's not to say that it's not the reverse, that I'm more important than everybody, but in order for me to be loving, I must take care of myself. So the key here is the intention. If my intention is to me first, fuck everybody else, then that's not loving. That's an intention for self-aggrandizement and self-centeredness. But if my intention is to be loving, and I recognize that in order for me to be loving, I've got to make sure my needs are taken care of. I can't pour from an empty cup, right? So I've got to make sure my needs are taken care of. That's self-love. Therefore, all love is self-love. I can't love another unless I have enough love for myself to make sure that my mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical needs are met. I love M. Scott Peck's book, The Road Less Traveled. And he has a beautiful definition of love, which is love is the extension of oneself, primarily. You have to extend yourself. Love is an extension. I want to extend myself. Even if it's for myself, I have to grow. I have to self-evolve. So self-evolution, the idea of evolving itself is self-love. It's an extension. It's an expansion. Love is an expansion. Love is an extension of myself for my own and another's spiritual, mental, and physical well-being. First, my own. So the action of self-evolution begins with self-love. Love is an action. The act of loving is self-evolving. I can't expand. I can't expand towards another to love them if I don't love myself. And the act of expansion is breaking through my own barriers, breaking through my own limitations. Therefore, love is possibility. Love is possibility. Love includes an intention and an action and a choice. I have to intend to be loving, right? I can't, if I'm just taking care of myself because I want to take care of myself, that's not loving. So I have to have the intention to be loving. And love is an action. I have to extend myself beyond my current paradigm, beyond my current understanding in order to be loving. And then love is a choice. We have free will. I have to want to be loving. I don't have to be loving. I have to want to be loving. But not just I would like to be loving. There's an intentionality about it. It's the difference between saying, I would like to have some chocolate ice cream tonight, or I will have some chocolate ice cream tonight. There's a big difference in I would like to and I will. So love is a will. Love is a choice. Intention, action, and choice for your own and another's spiritual, mental, and physical well-being. This is the act of loving. This is the act of self-evolution. So if all love is primarily self-love, you know what? I haven't looked at any of these comments, but I'm seeing lots of people coming in. Thank you all. So I'm just going to say thank you. And if you have questions or comments, bring them on. But I can see so many people coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if all love is self-love primarily, then now we can say, look at what's going on in the world. There is a lot going on. Man, I heard an article the other day on NPR. I heard a news story saying that there are increased rates of chipped teeth at dentist office because there's so much anxiety out in the world. COVID and the election and all of this stuff that's happening in our world, fires and polarization and hatred and all of the racial tensions that are going on, coming to the forefront. That all of this is causing in the collective unconscious, as Carl Jung would call it, in the collective unconscious, or as Michael Bernard Beckwith refers to Pierre Teilhard as saying the noosphere, in that area of thought, there's a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety. So we have to be loving and compassionate for ourselves and others, given this. Now, right now, you're also, I guarantee it, if you're watching this and you're interested in things like this, you're going through a big spiritual expansion right now. You're going through a lot of spiritual growth. So you've got to be compassionate with yourself. It's hard work. It's, the Buddha suffered. Buddha suffered. And Christ was joyful. And M. Scott Peck in his book says, the Buddhists forget about Buddha's suffering. They only focus on their joy. And the Christians forget about Christ's joy. They only focus on his suffering. So there is joy and suffering. In fact, we have to go through something. It's an extension of oneself to grow. And so there's a little bit of pain. The caterpillar has to become the butterfly. And there's struggle to get out of the chrysalis. There's something, the seed has to break through its shell, its hard outer seed coat, in order to expand. The chick has to break through its shell. There's something that has to happen. Something has to be broken through in order for us to expand. So there's a little bit of, stuff we got to go through. Now, the recognition of that is the easing of that pain. And so be gentle with yourself. You're going through a spiritual expansion right now on the planet. There's a huge spiritual expansion, and you yourself are part of that. And as outside, so within, so within, so without, as above, so below, as below, so above. The natural law of correspondence from the ancient Hermetic principles. So if it's happening out there, it's happening in here. If it's happening in here, it's happening out there. So know that there's a big spiritual growth and transformation happening outside and within. So be gentle, be loving. Know that you are going through a huge expansion. And the principle here is absolute perfection. Divine correction. Everything is unfolding in divine correction. We can understand that because we've had the experience of something turning out better than we would have anticipated based on our experience. So don't get caught up in experiences. Don't get caught up in appearances or circumstance or conditions. Something more is going on than meets the eye, always. So we then have to rely on principle. And our principle is step off the hamster wheel of blame and shame and guilt and self-doubt, right? Step off that hamster wheel. How do we step off the hamster wheel? We just step off. How do we drop the rock that we're carrying that's so heavy? We just drop it, right? And we drop into principle. This last weekend, the weekend before last, I went to the mountains, and I was having a big conflict in my life. And I just went there, and I was in meditation, silence for 2 days, and meditated and prayed and did yoga and connected to nature and read and wrote. And I would sit in meditation, and the problem was in my mind. And I kept arguing my point, and, in my head, having conversations in my head with the person I was arguing with. It was a hamster wheel. And finally, in meditation, I just had to say, I surrender all. I surrender. I have to just step off the hamster wheel. There's no cheese. There's no cheese down that. You're not advancing anywhere. You're just going around and around and around and around. So I have to step off that hamster wheel. I have to, if I'm carrying that rock, and my conflict and discord in my life and my home is so heavy, how do I drop it? Drop it. You just step off. You just drop it. But you can't just drop it and say, I'm just not going to think about it. No, there has to be a corresponding principle. The principle is everything is unfolding in divine perfection, and I'm indivisible from the source. I'm indivisible. I can't be separate from that which has all the power in the world. All the power. I was listening to a Satguru talk the other day, and he was saying, within you, and this was so rich, within you, there's a power that can convert food into human bones and tissue. If I told you that there was this magical organism that could take meat and potatoes, or vegan food, or vegetarian food, whatever it is, can take vegetables and potatoes and rice and turn it into flesh and bone and organ and consciousness, you would say, that's a miracle. Well, that's inside of you. That's inside of me. It's happening unconsciously. So if we want to step off the hamster wheel, we need only turn to the truth that within us is a power that is so magical, so powerful, so alchemical, that it can transmute base things into consciousness. And it's inside of you. Wow. So all we got to do is now consciously tap into that. That's how I can say everything is unfolding in divine perfection. And principle number 2, I'm undivided from the source. I'm indivisible from the source of all of life, from the source of all of power, indivisible from it. So if that's the truth, then I can step off the hamster wheel and I can drop the rock, because I know that it is unfolding in divine perfection, and I am undivided from the source that is spinning planets without human compulsion. If that source that brought us this far, that brought you this far on your spiritual journey, that has led you and guided you, think back of all the times you've been nudged in one way and things have really turned out for the best. If that power, if that source brought you here, trust in it to take you the rest of the way. That's what I had to do. That's how we can step off the hamster wheel. Okay, so those are the principles. So how do we step off? How do we drop? We surrender because of principle. We go back to principle. And another principle is that everything that is happening for us. It's here to reveal something that's seeking to be healed. It's seeking to be brought to the light. That's what we say at Rhythmia, that everything that it's coming is going. What's coming up is going. It's coming up to be healed so it can be released. So we can relax. I can drop that hamster wheel and I can get clear. How do I get clear? By stopping the hamster wheel and stopping the pain and suffering from carrying the rock, so that I can hear that still small voice that is neither still nor small. It's neither still nor small. We just are ignoring it most of the time. How often do you hear that voice and ignore it? I do a lot. And it's okay. Sometimes we go, yeah, I know I shouldn't watch that tonight. It'd be better if I didn't turn on Netflix and I meditated. But you know what? I'm going to watch Netflix. It's okay. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Be gentle with yourself. However, we are now moving into this truth that that everything is our perfect curriculum, right? So even that, should I watch Netflix or meditate before bed, right? Even that becomes an opportunity for us to step into the truth that everything is coming for us to learn. It's a divine curriculum. And so I want to share with you, when I was up in the mountains in silence, I received some messages from the angels. And it was just a beautiful connection to this angelic realm. And here's what I want to share with you. It was so profound with me. The angel's message was spiritual growth. You're going through a rapid spiritual expansion right now. You who are listening to this, you are going through a rapid spiritual expansion right now. And so we have to trust in the power. This is a surrender. Trust in the power that brought us this far, that it's going to take us the rest of the way. Enjoy the process. Everything is a divine correction, remember? So enjoy that correction, baby. Enjoy the divine process. Second message from the angels is see it as healed. So often when we're on that hamster wheel, I can't get out of that thinking, I'm stuck in it, and I am perpetuating that energy of being caught in it. So when I step off the hamster wheel, what do I replace those incessant thoughts, the content of our mind? What do I replace it with? I replace it with healing thoughts. The angels told me. Yes, they did. I'm saying the angels told me, baby. I hear, I know lots of people are clairvoyant. I just get these feelings or thoughts come. And I'm attributing it to the angels because I felt very connected in that moment. I felt a hum in my body. So that's how I feel it. So I'm going to say it's the angels. I'm going to say it's divine communication. And then I'm open and available to this wisdom and intelligence of the divine mind. And it was the divine mind, the angelic realm, that I believe shared this with me. Healing. You have to see whatever it is that you're going through as healed. We're in this rat race, and yeah, but, and that's wrong. I know there's science, and there's facts, and they're lying, and they're not lying, and Step off the hamster wheel. Step off the hamster wheel and step into seeing it as healed. Surrender it. I surrender all. I just kept in meditation saying, I surrender all. I surrender all. And then once I could surrender it, once I could give it up, enjoy the process, know that I'm going through a rapid spiritual growth, then I could trust, or then I could see it healed. I don't have to know how. I couldn't in my mind know how it was healed. But you just say to yourself, it's on the mend. The situation is on the mend, and it is healing. And then you send healing thoughts and loving thoughts to that situation. Whatever the difficulty, whatever the strife, wherever you're blaming or pointing shame or feeling lower vibrational frequencies of doubt and worry and fear, we just send that loving energy, loving healing energy, right? That's within us. And as within, so without. As we begin to love ourselves, all love is self-love, love ourselves, and bring that healing energy, then we bring that out into the world. Love, peace, and joy for myself and everyone around me. And now we can trust. And this is self-trust. If you don't believe that you are undivided from the power that can transmute vegetables and fruit into consciousness, it's in you. So now you can trust that power, self-trust. You are undivided from the source and the omnipotent mind, the all-knowing, all-seeing mind of the divine, the realm of infinite possibility, the unified field where there is nothing excluded, the all in all is within you, because the part contains all the qualities and quantities and aspects of the whole. And the whole, the part is within the whole, and the part has all of the whole is the part. So everything I am is God. Everything I am is divine. Everything you are is divine. Everything that we are, everything that we see is filled with the Spirit. It is filled with Theos, with the divine. And it is everything that I am and everything that you are. And I am a part of it. and you are a part of it. So we're not saying I'm God. No, we're saying that everything I am is God. Everything I am is the source. Everything I am is divine intelligence and wisdom and abundance and beauty and love and joy. That's the nature of the universe. Then everything you are is that too. And we are a part of that. So we can trust that we are undivided. The part contains the whole. That's why the ancient law of correspondence is true. As above, so below. If all of the qualities of the divine are in the unified field, the quantum field, infinite possibility, then if that's above, so below. Infinite possibility exists right here. Yeah, I'm getting excited. So circumstance cannot erode your true nature. The conditions, the circumstance, the issue can't erode the truth that you are part of the divine with all of the qualities, quantities, and aspects of the divine. So that's why we drop the rock and we step off the hamster wheel and we jump to, I see it healed. I see it whole and complete. I'm sending love to that situation because I know that love is present there. Now, the final thing, the final message was the angels was play, baby. Playfulness. Don't be so heavy. Oh my God, the rock. I went up to the mountains and it was so heavy. I just have to get into the silence. It's so heavy, right? And the angels were like, bring playfulness to it. Bring playfulness. Fun allows more creativity. Fun allows more inspiration. I can't be inspired. I can't be so creative when I'm so heavy and dragged down into the heaviness of it all. Oh, so tough. Yes, it is. But the recognition that life can be challenging, that we have to grow, that we have to expand, that we have to give something up. You know, if you have to give something up, it means you have something. So we could be grateful for that, right? So whatever it is that we're growing through, we can be grateful for. And it's going to be, it can look like pain and suffering, right? But when we acknowledge that on the other side of that suffering, quote, suffering, is spiritual growth and expansion, then it becomes imperative. Because if we choose not to go through it, it's just more pain and suffering. In fact, it gets worse. And we try to alleviate the pain and suffering. This is what Buddha is saying. We try and relieve the pain and suffering with numbing ourselves with the effects of the material world, and whenever we come out of it, guess what? More pain and suffering. So we might as well face into it, not shirk from it. Face into it and trust in the power that made all the mountains, that made all the sea. Trust in the power that brought you and me here, because we didn't create ourselves. Trust in the power that has the whole oak tree and the acorn. Trust in that power, and we can be playful now. We can be playful. And it's okay if we're feeling heavy. We just intend that playfulness. Now, so remember the talk is love and discipline. I'm going to hit the discipline really quickly. So discipline then becomes our spiritual practice. Discipline then becomes, I got to hold it in love, but I can't let my mind dominate me. I have to be disciplined to go to principle. I have to be disciplined to catch myself. How do we be disciplined? Same old spiritual practices you already know. Meditation, affirmative prayer and affirmation, fellowship, sacred study, read good books, fellowship, being in community with people who are on the same path, and being open to those who aren't. Yes, being open to those who aren't. And we pay careful attention. We have to be good stewards. We have to be really good husbands and wives to our mental thoughts. Otherwise, they are powerful beings. You know, I get caught in my head. Woo! It's a nasty place to be in those conversations I have with those people that I'm having an argument with, and then you feel that energy. Those thoughts create an energy within the body. It's like a possession, right? You're being possessed. I'm being possessed by these negative thoughts, and you can just feel it coming up in the body. That's why we step off the hamster wheel. We drop the rock, but we have to be disciplined to do it. So love and discipline, and we have to keep returning to principle. Keep surrendering, and clarity will emerge, right? How do we know that clarity will emerge? Well, think of the Buddhist teacher who asked the student to make this muddy bucket of water clear. And the student kept trying to push the mud down. And every time he tried to push the mud down in the water, it just made it come up again, right? Finally, the student sat, not knowing what to do. He just sat there. It was like, what do I do? I don't know how to make this clear. And soon, the water clarified. So, sitting in the silence, taking walks, connecting with nature, not talking about it. Every time we have to be disciplined that every time that hamster wheel of thought stops, we don't have to know the answer. So stop looking for it. Drop it. Drop the rock. Get off the hamster wheel. Surrender. Go to principle. That's being disciplined. And the more we can lean into the discipline, the more joy and playfulness and love can emerge through this discipline, through letting things clear. The discipline to sit with what your shit and let it sink, right? Thoughts are powerful beings, and we have to be disciplined with our, not be run by our thoughts, but be disciplined enough to put them aside. And so, you know, we must believe. Look, somebody told me a long time ago, believe 10% of what you think. Believe 10%, because the rest of it is BS. It's all sorts of interpretations. How many times in your life have you been texting or leaving a message and somebody misinterpreted what you said and it all got out of hand, and when finally you got back to it, it was like, that's not what I meant, right? This is the same thing, right? So we just can't get caught up in the circumstance, can't get caught up in the condition, can't get caught up in the hamster wheel of a rat race of our thoughts, letting them control us and downward spiral into negative thoughts. No, we just step off. And we trust that there's a power within us already, the divine mind, the infinite possibility already exists within us, and we open up to allow that to emerge. And this is the law of emergence, that it's all here, ready for us to allow it to emerge. And this is another principle. You don't have to be all spiritual and woo-woo about this. Look at electricity. Tesla was saying, it's all free. It's all out there. We just have to create the nodes that can capture what's already there, waiting for an outlet. That's the truth. That's the truth. So if it's true with electricity, wouldn't it be true with peace and love and beauty and joy and harmony and abundance and health and prosperity and excellence and vitality? Wouldn't it be true with all the qualities that are divine? That if they're just waiting to emerge, they're waiting to be revealed. They're waiting, as Ernest Holmes quotes Robert Browning, to release the imprisoned splendor. It's waiting to be released. Here, I've talked about this before. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? According to the principle we're just talking about, no, because sound is a vibration and requires a receiver to be realized. Electricity requires an outlet to be expressed. Sound requires a speaker, a receiver to be expressed. And so do all the divine qualities of peace and joy and love and harmony and abundance and order and beauty and balance and excellence and creativity and inspiration. All of those things require an outlet to be expressed. And who is that outlet? You and me. And that's why we have to be disciplined. And that's why we have to return to principle. That's all it is. The discipline to the truth, to not be, the discipline to the truth, not to circumstance. Discipline to watching our thoughts, not to being caught up by them. So it's the same. I mean, these are ancient little chestnuts, right? The seed contains the rose seed, the seed of the rose bush. The entire rose bush is contained in that. And the blossom of every flower is contained in the bud. Its fullest expression is waiting to emerge. Your fullest expression, my fullest expression, is waiting to emerge. We must make ourselves open to receive them. We must make ourselves an outlet for all of that to express. So if we want peace, if we want harmony, if we want abundance, if we want health and wholeness, if we want love, we must be that very thing. We must make ourselves open for it to move through us. We do that through the discipline of returning to principle, through the discipline of being a midwife and husbands to our thoughts, and not letting our thoughts run us. And remembering finally that there is no end to this. You are not one and done. All right, I got through this. It's cool. No, baby. I went up to the mountains for a weekend. I'm good. I meditated for 48 hours and stand in silence. I'm good. Wrong. It is a never-ending journey. So it's the end. There's no end to the growth. So it's not about the goal. It's about the growth. Get off the hamster wheel. Drop the rock. Allow the growth to emerge. We do that by being with it, by letting it settle. We drop the rock. We surrender. We get off the hamster wheel. We set the intention and the action and the willingness for love. Love and discipline. Okay, I went a little bit over time, but that's our talk for today. I am so grateful that you all tuned in. Thank you all so much for joining us. We've got a lot going on at Rhythmia. Lots coming up. Getting ready to reopen. Excited to do so. Keep checking the website. Keep calling the center, and we will let you know when we are officially reopening. And it is coming soon, and the whole remodel is taking place. It's beautiful. All right. Peace and richest blessings. Many thanks for joining us, for joining me and my mom. So that's why I can say us. Thanks for joining us. Much love. Thank you.